Greetings, village. This is your host, Kenwood, and we are back with another episode of Jedi Learning. Today, we have an absolute fantastic show for you lined up. We are going to do an unboxing from a black-owned business. We are going to go over the details from a report that just dropped from the United States Secret Services. And I think you are going to be fascinated because it has to do with targeted school violence. We're going to look at all the patterns, and we're going to see what can keep you safe, as well as what you need to look out for if you're looking for a school attacker. Now, without any further ado, like I said, I got a package, and this is mail time, from one of our favorite clothing shops, businesses, Universal Sankofa. They brought this episode to you today because they sent me this beautiful package, and we are going to do a little collaboration here. So I want to open it up on screen, let everybody know that this is authentic, and I want to see what this packaging looks like. I can't wait to get into it. So you guys bear with me as I rip this package open and see what we got here. Oh, double pack. Oh, I'm waiting for this. Here we go. And it's a very special order too. I said I want this particular shirt because I love the message that was on it. And looks like it came with some goodies on top of that. We got here. So, oh wow. Kenwoud, we appreciate your wisdom and willingness to collaborate with us. Keep dropping gems, spreading light. Universal Sankofa. Thank you, family. We need that encouragement from time to time when things get rough. So we always have to support each other. I definitely want to send a big shout out to Universal Sankofa. They have been excellent. Stuff came on time. It is in excellent shape, exquisite, superb material. I can't wait to show this to you guys, as a matter of fact, but I want to keep going on this. Go check out the website. I have looked it up, and it's phenomenal equipment up there. I don't care if you're looking for shirts or any type of equipment, stickers, magnets, a plethora of powerful messages too. You see these Adinkra symbols? Powerful messages. It's not all talk. This is about business. So we always want to support black-owned businesses, do this unboxing. What else do we have in here? Beautiful magnet. And what does this say? When you learn, teach. When you get, give. By the sister, Maya Angelou. That's the message that we wanted to put out there because we saw it on the website and we said, look, that's the one we got to have. That's the one we got to have. Even got a sticker to go with it. So I got some places that these stickers and these magnets are going to live. Refrigerators and houses is where we're going to put these up today. Now, you can't get those symbols, make sure you check them out, like I said. And check out the Instagram page, please, because the Instagram page is on fire. Every time I check out the Instagram page, it looks almost professional. I don't know if they have a professional photographer who comes out and do this stuff or what, but it's very professionally done, very well done. The lighting is excellent. I don't know if they got a brand new iPhone 11 Max that's just shooting these beautiful pictures or what. Galaxy S, I don't know. Whatever y'all doing, keep it up. So I definitely want to send a big shout out, but this is not the grand finale. It's not a grand finale until put it on. And look at this. Like I said, it's a new package smell too. Look at that. When you learn, teach. When you get, give. Maya Angelou. I got a chance to see Maya Angelou live at Chapman University, I think 2007 or so. And she gave me some very, very important information. She said, if there's anybody around you, I don't care if they black, I don't care if they white, and they start using the word nigga, you get up and leave. Don't correct them. Don't tell them that they're wrong. Only you can control your own behavior, and you need to get up out the situation. And although I do let it slip from my lip from time to time, just like Tribe Quest said, my lips is like a ooh up when I start to spray it. I always try to keep that in mind because it's very, very powerful information. And you know we have a love-hate relationship with that word, but I will never forget her for that. And I will always try to carry that out whenever I'm in the presence of that. But look at this powerful shirt. Universal Sankofa, y'all done me proud. So without any further ado, let's get into the information for today. The United States Secret Service just put together a report from the Threat Assessment Center And the report details 41 acts of school violence from 2008 to 2017. So this is the most comprehensive assessment of school violence that we've had to date. So you get to look at the patterns, you get to look at what can protect yourself, what needs to be done to address this whole situation. And I am surprised that this is not all over the news, not all over the cycles, not all over the social media up to this point. I don't think anybody's even heard about it because I can barely even hear about it. And I have to go to very special places to try to find this information. But guess what? At Jedi Learning, we got it for you today. Today. What did they find from these 41 acts? Number one, I should let you know, the most two recent attacks, probably three recent attacks, are not even included because it's only from 2008 to 2017. So you have the Santa Fe school shooting in Texas, that's not included. You have the most recent shooting over here in Southern California, that's not included. And also the Parkland, Florida shooting, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, that's not included. So there's a lot of information that's not included, but it is yet to be put together, and when it does, you're going to see probably more of the same because we got some very, very interesting patterns for you. What I want to start off telling you is that one thing you can do to keep yourself safe is to go to school after lunch. And why is that? The report details how most of the school shootings or attacks take place in the morning hours, so right before lunch. So if you decide to come after lunch, you're probably going to be safe. People have to do it while they have a lot of mojo, while they have the balls to get out there and carry out whatever act they've been trying to carry. As the day goes on, you eat lunch, you get tired, you go to PE and you've been out there playing, you don't want to do all that anymore. So after lunch is a key time for you to be safe. But I also want to say this really quick. The United States Secret Service put a threat assessment together to try to identify who would assassinate the president. They would find these targeted individuals, get information about them, and then based on that information, use it just as much as they would any physical intervention means. That means security, snipers in place, things like that. So the threat assessment stems from that, and now we have to use it in the school. But I just have to let you know that real quick before we continue. But the timing is very, very important. Like we said, coming to school after lunch is probably going to keep you safe. Another thing, within a week returning from a break, either a holiday break, let's say winter break or fall break, spring break, within a week returning from that break is when you usually see things go down. Or if the attacker has been gone for a week, you might want to get out of Dodge, because when they come back, within a week, you probably see something going down. Keep yourself safe, and the things that you can do to do that, I'm letting you know right now. After lunch is a good time. Within 1 week from a break is the time you want to watch out for, okay? Stay clear of anybody that you think may be on that particular list. And this goes out to adolescents from 12 to 18. They can watch this video too because they are on ground zero and they're very, very excellent at telling you who they think might carry out some school violence or some acts against other people. What I find fascinating is that most of the attackers told you ahead of time, communicated their intent to carry out this particular act. So if somebody tells you or threatens another person or you, then you need to get out of Dodge as well. It is no sense saying, okay, they're not serious, I don't know what they're going to do, because guess what? Within an hour to 2 weeks from a threat being made is the main time you'll see these attacks occur. The soonest an attack occurred was when a student made a threat, and within an hour, that attack was being carried out. The longest it went was about 2 weeks after the threat was made, that attack was carried out. After about 2 weeks, things start to die down and you can kind of reintegrate back into society. But if somebody makes that threat, you better believe within an hour to 2 weeks, that's your it's not a safety zone, but it's a time when things will be going down. So watch your back. As we continue, some other patterns that we gleaned from this information, which we thought that the family might be interested in. The attacks are usually towards other children or peers. It is rarely towards the teachers. Because of what? Relationship issues. About 100% of the students who carried out these acts had relationship issues, either with another student of the same sex or a romantic relationship. So either there was bullying going on, especially in front of other people. That was one of the main things that popped out in this report. Bullying going on in front of other people. If that happened within 6 months of the attack, it was pretty likely that that attack was going to be carried out. If there was a breakup or a cheating situation, or somebody broke up and then somebody else started to date their ex, that was a trigger too. So whenever these stressors occurred with the peers, either, like I said, the same-sex peer or romantic relationship within 6 months, you saw something go down. So I'm letting you know this so you can keep yourself safe, identifying these patterns. When should you probably skip school? When should you be there? Okay? But we don't stop there. Psychologically, what is going on here? Yes, you got about 20% of all school-age children that have at least one diagnosable condition, but in this case, the attackers, 40% of them had a diagnosable condition. And there was quite a few of them that actually received mental health services. So it's not like there was no services in place and these people are just running around doing whatever they want to do. A lot of times, things were in place. And even when the attacks occurred, a lot of times, those students were already on break. They just came back to do whatever they had to do. If you're in a public school setting, you're obviously much more likely to have this occur to you. Only 2 of the schools out of the 41 attacks listed were private schools or non-public schools. Most of them definitely were public schools. So as you can see the pattern starting to develop, I'm not letting you know that this is the only way things can be and this is the only way they will happen. But if you look at these patterns, you can maximize your potential for either staying safe or staying alive, okay? And really quick, let's just say somebody does get into your school or place of business. What are the steps? What do you do? The number one thing that you do is run. Get out of the way. All the detailed information, all the patterns, all the research says run. That's your best chance. Number 2, get into a room, lock yourself in a room and barricade the door. Get out of the way. If you can't run, if it's just nowhere to go and you find open space where you feel like you can lock the door and barricade yourself, an attacker is only going to try for a little while to get in that particular door and then they're going to bounce and do something else. And lastly, if all else fails, you've ran, you've hidden, the attacker's still coming, whoop his ass. Whoop her ass. It does not matter. You have to go at them with full force. There have been many, many attacks that have been thwarted just like this. And this is another fact. Most of the attacks were not stopped by outside law enforcement. As a matter of fact, none of them were stopped by outside law enforcement. This just goes to show you, saying that I need to put more officers on the school ground, more police, more dogs, is not likely to help. I'm just letting you know this is what the Secret Service is telling everybody. I'm not saying because I feel like the militarization is more likely to take out black people or minorities. I know that's the case already. You know that that's the case already. But for no attacks to be stopped by outside law enforcement and for them to continue to want to put officers inside the school, you have to ask yourself, what is the motive for that? The data is just not lining up. So stay safe, run, get it out of the way. But what are some more patterns that we can glean from this? About 100% of the students also had a history of troubling behavior that let them know, or that let other people know, that this may be coming. So those troubling behaviors could be anything from showing depressive symptoms, not caring about their hygiene, poor attendance, grade slipping, things not going their way, them not even caring about how they look, things that they used to care about, they no longer care about it, making previous threats, having extreme outbursts of anger. These are all concerning behaviors that were exhibited prior to these attacks being carried out. So if you see people that are exhibiting these types of behaviors, not saying that they're going to do anything, but you might want to keep an eye open. As we continue, 94% of them experience some type of ACE, adverse childhood event. They average about 3 adverse childhood events per attacker, okay, on average. And what is an adverse childhood event? The main 2 adverse childhood events were having financial problems in the family, being broke, are having relationship problems with the parents, either separated or divorced. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, that sounds like plenty of household homes. Yeah, that is true, especially in black neighborhoods. But you don't see black people represented in a lot of the attackers, although they are represented somewhat, which brings me to our next point. Who's most likely to carry out these particular attacks, even though the report expressly says there is no pattern? What I will say is that the report details that 83% of the attackers are male. Okay, that is really no surprise there. The surprise there is that 17% were female, but you don't really hear about those. That's the interesting part. And here goes another one that we're probably not surprised about either. 63% of the attackers were white. That still leaves about 37%, 30-something percent that are other, but you can see over half were white. White males is the predominant demographic for carrying out these acts. So once again, even though the report says that there is no pattern, no discernible pattern that we can find, this is what we found, and this is what we're showing you, and it's public to you. You can go download it. Go download the United States Secret Service's Threat Assessment Center's report on targeted school violence, and you will find the same thing that I'm telling you now. I'm not telling you any secrets, okay? I'm just bringing it to you all at once, the big gigantic conglomerate. And then I want to finalize things with this, because I thought this was interesting. Number one, 75% of the students had a history of weapons use, either being in JROTC, using airsoft guns, having paintball battles. 75% of them were engaged in this type of behavior. So it just showed that they had interest in these type of weapons and then carrying it out. One particular student, you know how they always say video games have nothing to do with this. One student had 47 first-person shooter video games. What does that mean? A first-person shooter is you taking the perspective of the character in the video game and carrying out all the acts just as they do. So it gives you the perspective, and you get to see things going down just as if you were walking through and taking things out. You saw this in the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand, where the attacker had a helmet on and he used the GoPro to record the whole thing as if it was a video game. So video games do have an effect because of the simple psychological process of modeling. The more similar I see people carrying out acts like me, the more likely I am to imitate it. I don't care what behavior it is, from eating to talking to targeted school or people, violence in general, okay? This is something else I want to bring to the people, and this is just a pattern that just happened to pop out. That's 420. Why is 420 important in the text? Some of you guys already know, but I have to bring it to the people. Most people are already going to say, 420, what is the deal with 420? Are we talking about marijuana? Yes, we are, essentially. When we look at the substance use amongst the attackers, the number one substance used was weed. I would never have thought that, and I think most people wouldn't have thought that. Followed by alcohol, followed by amphetamines, if I can spit it out, like Adderall, which you can get from a doctor. Also followed by opiates, such as Valium, Percocets, which you can get from a doctor. And following up the rear, codeine and promethazine, or lean, okay? Pulling a foe up. As a matter of fact, one 12-year-old student said that he pulled a foe up every 2 days for a year straight. Now, anybody between the ages of 12 and 18, that's going to have an effect on your brain. I'm sorry. But what I'm showing you here is that even popular hip-hop is creeping into the mainstream with some of the things that they engage in. Pouring a 4 ounce of promethazine or codeine, cough syrup, into a Sprite or your favorite beverage is what the young man was referring to, pouring a 4. He ended up killing some teachers, some students, and himself at the end of the day, unfortunately. But back to this 420. There were two main ideas that usually popped up with the attackers. One of the main idea, Columbine. It seems to have set off some type of copycat virus where the attackers usually refer to this as something that they're interested in. Either they knew the attackers' nicknames, they knew what their favorite movies were, they knew what their favorite music was, they knew what their interests were. They were very fascinated by these particular attackers. The attack took place on 4/20, in case you're wondering where this reference is coming from. The other main idea that constantly came up was the idea of Hitler or Nazism. Okay, Nazis for short. Now, why is this, and what does this have to do with 4/20? Hitler's birthday is April the 20th. There you go again. So Weed, Columbine, Hitler, all strung together by this 4/20 pattern. This is something that we can use. If we see anybody that fits these particular molds, they are concerning, we have to make the proper reports. And you have to take the proper measures to get yourself out of there. So what do you do with all this information? Number one, if anybody is demonstrating these types of patterns of behaviors or interests, what you want to do is let somebody know. A comprehensive threat assessment needs to be done, and that information needs to be just as important and used just as much as any physical measures, taking care of the person who may be a target of the threat, making sure that the person who is making these threats are quarantined or have some type of reintegration into society where they can receive some mental health services such as counseling, and also checking the home for any types of weapons. Guess what the number one weapon used was? Yeah, you already got it. A gun. And a lot of times, and even more recently in Southern California, where we saw the young man bring the handgun to school, the .45, they're using ghost guns. You might say, Baba Kintu, what's a ghost gun? A ghost gun is simply a gun that you can put together with parts that you can order online. And because you're putting them together separately, it does not require I was about to say a social security number. It doesn't require a serial number. And as a result of it not requiring a serial number, it can't be traced. Let's say he got away. He ditched the gun in the bushes. There was no DNA evidence. Nobody saw him do it. There was no way to gather that information. And then they came across the gun, and it was all wiped up. No fingerprints, no nothing. There was no way they'd be able to trace it. It ghosted. It disappeared. It wasn't there, just like a ghost. So these are the patterns that we're seeing. And once again, I'm speaking on behalf of the United States Secret Service's Threat Assessment Center's report on targeted school violence. So now you, family, know what to look for when a targeted school attacker comes out. Okay, and it's not always guns. It could be nunchucks, it could be sais, bows, arrows. All these things have been used in these attacks. It's all detailed. Molotov cocktails, okay, knives, getting shanked. Keep your eyes open, especially the third one, and you won't get caught up in any of this. I'd like to thank the folks out at Universal Sankofa once again for bringing this to us. Check out their website, please. Check out the Instagram and their social media, and patronize this black-owned business. Get off of Gucci's nuts, Nike's nuts, Adidas nuts, and get on Universal Sankofa's nuts. Okay, Sankofa, going back to get what you need to go forward. And hopefully we're able to do some of that for you here today. And without any further ado, we are coming to the end of this segment. This has been an excellent show. Please leave any comments or questions that you have for us. Once again, this is your host, Baba Kintu, and we were here with JET Institute of Learning, or short, Jedi Learning. And today we talked about targeted school violence, targeted attackers. We resurrect communities through superior education, and we cannot wait to talk to you guys again. Peace.